Alright, we made it just almost in the nick of time. I realized at the last minute, wait a minute, I could do this next big step today if I have this piece of wood cut. So, piece of wood cut accomplished. Thank you for the shout out, Quindy. You can check me out at all those links below. Alright, so I have several different, having gone through all the stuff we've been working on. Hold on, let me turn off this fan. Over the past several months developing these molds, we sculpted these rocks. We made molds of the rocks, which I will show molds in a minute. I've been casting the rocks in a variety of different materials to see what those different material properties are, how they paint, that sort of thing. And I've been applying the learnings I've taken from that into this mold, which is on the last part of the last step of the process. This one right here, we're gonna open this as soon as I finish this step on this other one. See all this gunk sticking out of it? This is the ugliest mold I've ever seen. Anyway, this is all great stuff spilling out the sides. We tried it so that all these little, hold on, this is being very loud. Calm down. Calm down, happy music. So that all these little spouts would be exhaust ports, basically, for the great stuff to come out of. And I just wasn't having a lot of success with that. So yesterday I cut a bunch of little exit routes out the side to see if that would give me better results. So we're going to find out in a couple minutes. But first we're going to do the final mother mold for this side. Now I've got all these cups in place here because I want this mother mold to fit to so I'm going to be pouring Plastipaste or blobbing Plastipaste over this, and I want it to socket into these little shapes here. So I just use these little mixing cups as sort of keys for that. We'll see how well that ends up working for us. Isn't it? Yeah. The other stuff I was using was bright pink. And it was nice, but I actually like this green better. This sort of mint green. Alright, looks like a new blade is required. I just want to kind of clean up the extra flappy doodles that are going to cause needless jamming opportunities, let's say. Because if there's a big flappy doodle like this and I put the mother mold on and it like squashes that flappy doodle down in a specific way, and then I take the mother mold off, when I put it back on, there's no guarantee the flappy doodle is going to flap back into the same place, so it could cause some ill-fitting. This has got to fit like the proverbial glove. Which, I don't know about you, but I've never really had gloves that fit like absolutely perfectly. There's got to be a better proverb for that. fit like a banana peel to a banana. That's what it's going to fit like. Right. Okay. And then the other thing I want to do is a few little places on the side here so that the mother mold has some keys on the side as well, so it can kind of grip around all the different sides. Grip like a gorilla grips a banana. R.I.P. Harambe. Indeed, poor Harambe. This track goes out to him. This seems like a fitting Harambe track. One thing I'm wondering, do I actually want to peel off this edge and have the have a lip that goes all the way around? Probably unnecessary because it's going to be held in place just fine by the interlocking nature of what's going on inside of it. Yeah, I think this is fine. Talked myself out of some more work. Every once in a while, I'm able to do that. Not often, but every once in a while. Anyone else having a very mid Thursday? My Thursday is feeling like a Wednesday. You know, in Tears of the Kingdom, I finally got to the part where I got the resources to get more battery power for my little battery belt. But now I can't figure out how to actually turn it into batteries. I'm talking to the little guy at the little smithy, and he's telling me about all these things, but none of them are, okay, turn these resources into more battery power for me. So I'm very frustrated. Could I look it up? Sure, I could look it up. I don't want to be that guy. That guy who looks things up. You're bagging minis? That sounds pretty mid. Way worse than painting minis. Or sculpting minis. You know, it's not terrible, but yeah, mid. It's the perfect word. It's the perfect word for these times we live in. Except when they get worse than mid. And then there are other words. You've only been playing Diablo 4. Yeah, that's not helpful. Unless Diablo 4 also requires battery packs to charge your Zonite devices. I don't think it does. God, I had a recruiter coming at me asking if I wanted to be the lead designer for Diablo Immortal. That's right, cell phone Diablo. But not. But the weird thing about it is, like, they're opening an office in the West, right? Because that game's created by NetEase, and they're trying to understand Western markets better. So they're like opening a division in the West. I'm like, that just sounds like a trap. Lead design Diablo Immortal when like all the actual development takes place in China, and then try to convince them that Westerners aren't down with all the monetization style that they do. I don't know. Sounds like signing up for a daily fight. D4 is having a live stream now. Thank you, Zachariah. Thank you for letting me know you're lurking. Warms the cockles. Okay, I think we got this nice and cleaned up-ish. So, let's get our mother mold in place. Nope, wait. It's almost getting ahead of myself there. Yeah, it has to go this way. Before I do that, I want to drill some holes in here so that I can get that really locked in as well. To do that, it's going to require the drill, and to acquire the drill means I need more zonite charges for my battery belt. No, I think my son took it. One sec. One sec. You did indeed. That thief. My son is building a really cool shelf out of a drum, like a bass drum, that he got free. He got a whole drum set for free, used it a couple times, and then decided wasn't something he wanted to spend a lot of time with. So we're trying to get rid of it, and he's doing something really cool and creative with it, so that's cool. Wow. Dull much? Goodness, I'm gonna burn through this wood before I actually drill through it. Yeah. Hello, Emma Louise. How's it going? Well, see, being told by someone where a thing is in a game, to me, that's totally on bounds. Like, that is the traditional structure for finding out difficult stuff in video games. It's the playground rules, right? Yeah, please tell me, how do you turn... I've got 150, whatever those little triangle bits are, and I think that's how you get them, but how do you actually make them give you more battery? I'm at the temple or abandoned mine or whatever it is in the Underdark, and I beat the boss who attacks you with a big machine. And now I'm talking to the robots and the little robot at the forge, and he lets you buy stuff, but none of them are actually like, give me more battery stuff. Why are none of my drills going through this wood? I'd also like to know that. If you know why, let me know. A mine place in the start. See, I went there, but I didn't have 100 pieces. So I thought they were just like the same kind of station, because it's a little robot by a little lava pit. But you're saying I have to go back to the sky place to get batteries? I can't get them at the underground mine? Why is it so dang hard to drill through this wood? Is this wood? Is this plywood particularly upgraded material or something? I'll just settle for 2 because I don't want to sit here drilling on wood all day. No thank you. Maybe the battery's just low. I don't know. As long as I can squeeze a little bit of the mother mold plastic paste through there, I think that'll do the trick. And it'll be like up around the edges too, so. Now I know where the Sky Temple is, because I went there several times. But thank you. I will visit there again now that I have more bits and bobs. Okay, time to make applesauce. Crisscross applesauce. Plastic paste 2. This stuff is like a lazy man's or woman's or they's, a lazy person's, not paper mache. That's the word that's coming in my head, but it's definitely not paper mache. What was the original Corvette made out of? The Corvette Stingray. It was, and kayaks are made out of this. A lot of boats are made out of it. Oh my God. Fiberglass. Oh. So much pain in my brain to get that word out. Yeah, so it's basically like a fibery paste. That's what it is. But you don't have to go through the process of like laying fabric down and soaking it in the stuff and then putting the other stuff on the stuff and then having a bag full of carcinogenic fibers floating everywhere. That is why I've never used fiberglass. It is scary stuff. But since this stuff, they figured out a way to, and you know, this is not as strong as true fiberglass because it doesn't have the like the structure of the cloth under it to keep it all like really contiguous, the substrate, but for purposes of molds this size, it's perfectly adequate. Yeah, once I mix the second part into it, it's going to start looking like applesauce. You would think they wouldn't want everything to look delicious, but now if they could just make it smell delicious too, that would actually probably get to the point where it's dangerous. Okay, so we have approximately, let's say 10 ounces. So we want to put it up to about 15 ounces. So it takes half of that. does not feel like half, does it? It's 10 ounces. Half of 10 is 5, therefore 15 would be the other half, but just gonna go with my gut. Put a little bit more in there. That's some good applesauce right there. Okay, I get to scoop and boop it in here. We scoop and boop, scoop and boop. And I want to pay special attention to making sure that I get into all of these little keys that I spent all this time cutting in. Uh-oh, what's going on there? Give up the rubber. Yeah, closer. Oh, and also That would be a good idea. I'll tell you what would be a good idea. Putting some aluminum foil in it. Just in case my scoop boops want to fall onto the table. Oh man, I can only imagine what would happen if I put this in my oven. Probably only bad news, no good news. I'm going to turn this from a very mid-Thursday into a very traumatic Thursday. Okay, so there's my applesauce pie. Now I'm going to put a nice crispy crust on it. And some. Uh-oh. Where did my alcohol go? I had it out here. How? Why? So a little alcohol shot helps things. Helps the applesauce go down smooth. Okay. Now I'll flip it over. Bunk. And put this on the floor and put a weight on it. That should flatten it out. Alright, so now we get to go and see how the latest iteration on the Super Ugly mold went. version, I guess this is really a version 2, 2.2. Because I did a first mold for rocks like this. That was this. I did this, I don't know, several weeks ago, and I think it was on one of these streams, and I could not vacuum degas the bubbles out of it, so all the pieces that I cast in it were bubbly. So version 2 was using this green stuff, mold rubber that does not require vacuum degassing because you just brush it on one layer at a time. And like I said, at first I had all these funny little noodle boys sticking out. It kind of worked, kind of didn't. You can still see some areas where the great stuff oozed out, which that means it's venting as opposed, instead of like expanding out of the mold. That's how I ended up with these guys last time. They've just got this super mega thickness to them. See, this is, here's the original by comparison. And so you can see it just like it expanded the mold out from the force of the expansion of the great stuff. So this time I put vents on the side. I cut those in afterwards and clamped it down instead of putting a weight on top like I was doing. I was just like putting a cinder block on top, and apparently the weight of a cinder block is no match for the expansion power of great stuff. And so all these blobs on the side here are where it oozed out, which is good. I wanted it to ooze out. Like, in a perfect world, if I got the exact right amount in there, there would be like one little dot on each of the exits. That's something that I can dial in with experience. Okay. Why is this not coming off? It must be stuck to something. It does look like a dino foot, doesn't it? Okay. Yeah. There you can see the vents that I cut in. And the fact that it went over these edges in places is not good. Like I would hope that the vents would have kept it channeled and all going out instead of up and over the edge. But it also looks like it's pretty thin. Which may be acceptable. Alright. Things look pretty darn good. And I'm seeing a few imperfections, a few places where it didn't quite fill in every, crispy detail perfectly, but that's probably just going to be par for the course. Now this has been in the mold since last night around 7 p.m. and right now it's almost 1, so it's been 12, 16 hours maybe, something like that. would love to be able to pull these and just have it come out, but it's too crispy to do that. So I could like try to scoop it out. The problem with that is that with great stuff, it's not, it wants to tear like when you stick something under there. So I may just have to bite the bullet and pull this out, which is unfortunate because all of these little thingies then come out, and reseating them all can kind of be a pain, because if you can't just like shove it back down because they get all like bent and twisted. However, if I'm not really utilizing these anymore, I can cut them down quite a bit, and that won't be a problem in the future. So being able to roll the rubber back as opposed to trying to pry these out, it's a lot easier on the pieces. Oh, I got a tear all the way through there. That's interesting. I wonder how that happened. Hi. Oh wow, I could just by hand peel the flashing off. That is great for the most part. There's a few places where the venting is a little bit thicker. Okay, this is pretty darn nice. Always concerned when I see little bits of the rubber cut in the cast, so that means it's tearing bits of detail off of there, which means the next cast is going to presumably, you know, but that's just a matter, like all molds have a lifetime, annoyingly. And they just kind of degrade over time. If you've ever had action figures, like multiple action figures of the same character, and some of them look like softer, or they've got like, you know, clear seams around them, that's because the mold that they were getting stamped out on was getting old. Okay. Yeah, this is really nice. Oh, interesting. There's a little bit, you can kind of see through it a little bit there. Is that on the original? Wait, that's that one. Nope. Always has to be the last one you check. Okay. Oh, look at that. I can see a little bit of light glinting through there. Yeah, I cut it too close, but it's fine. I mean, I don't think it actually affects anything negatively. Yeah, I'm really happy with this rock rupee I've got. This is very encouraging. The next thing I've got to experiment with, assuming I can do this regularly, successfully like this, is what is the minimum amount of time I can have them in the molds, because if I want to sell these as a product, you know, let's say I get 100 orders, if I have to wait a day between every cast, then it would take me 100 days to fulfill those orders, right? And that would, or I have to make more molds, which is very expensive, and the price has to go up. Expensive and time consuming, and I hate making molds, so. So I'm trying to decide from a paint job perspective how I want to approach this. So I could just straight up go right to a wash on it. That's what I've been doing with several of these. Like, that's what I did with this one. And you know, it gave me an interesting look. I don't hate it. These ones I tried spraying just a paint and primer spray paint on it, directly on it. These are the super spongy versions, and definitely still needs a wash. It's not not quite there yet. And then this one, it was really dark to begin with, and I did a wash on it and you could barely tell the difference. So yeah, have to rely on dry brushing for that. Another approach, it would be to dry brush first and then do a wash. And then another one is to do a primer coat, you know, of probably something mid-dark, and then, you know, do a wash and a dry brush. Again, I'm trying to find something that gives me the maximum, like, this looks nice with the minimum time and material cost. Because I'm trying to figure out how to get as close to mass production on these as I can. Quindy, I don't know what brulee actually means. What is a brulee? What is the verb to brulee? I'm sure it's a cooking term. And I just finished watching the second season of The Bear, so I should know this, but I don't. By the way, anyone else watch The Bear and think, oh my god, you couldn't pay me to eat any of that food? It all looks so disgusting. Because that's how I feel when I watch it. It's a good thing the character drama is great. that was a big chunk of rubber. What is that from? Oh, I'll bet that was from cutting the little trenches. Okay, I'm not worried about that piece. Burning with a little torch. Oh, okay, so creme brulee is cream that has been singed on the top of the torch. Okay. That's where I recognize the word from. French for, we be burning the cream, yo. Creme brulee. French for burn that sugar down to the ground until it is caramel. Yeah, that sounds French. Apologies to any French people who may be watching this stream. Although every French person I know that I've asked if they find it offensive when Americans do ridiculous French accents, they have all said that they find it funny. I'm sure you can't universalize it, but, you know, so I want to apologize just in case. Like, I'm not really sure how to make fun of an American accent, dude. Best I can do is like California surfer, you know? Or I guess I could go like deep south, make fun of the deep southerns. But then that's getting dangerously close to the home base of Reaper Miniatures. Don't want to make fun of the Reapers. Freedom. It's all about the freedom. Thank you, interviews. You unlocked my American superpower. My free American superpower. I used to live in Texas, so that's why I could do it so darn well. So ding dong darn well. Sound just like I'm straight out of San Antonio. Interesting. I am seeing a few little bubbles. Not nearly as many as the other pieces that I did, but I do wonder how. Are they on the other ones? Let's see. Let's find the same one of this. Okay, so there's a bubble right here. Do I see it here? I do not. But with the spongy stuff, it's going to adhere a little bit different than the great stuff. So, there's a bubble here. Yeah, I guess because the sponge just picks up a little bit less of the crispy detail than the great stuff does, so you don't really see it as well. You think that was very freedom authentic there, Queen Delara? Thank you. ready to move back to Texas now. All right, I'm gonna put do I do a you know what? I'm gonna take just one of these right now. I'm just gonna do a wash. I'm just gonna wash it. Give it a little wash. Sometimes they just want to be clean. Put my rocks in my wash tub. That's no good. Get out of there. And because I am one of the only crafters in the universe who does not like having paint on their fingers, I gotta do the gloves. Okay. Brush, brush, brush. So this is a fairly thick wash. It's matte medium at a little higher ratio, more matte medium than water. So it still operates kind of like a wash, but not exactly like a wash. You still gotta really scrub it down into the cracks, but it also tints the rest of the surface really well. Well, I'm getting some surface resistance on here, and I don't know if it is a property of the great stuff or some. I don't think I sprayed any. No, I did not spray any mold. We get it. You're a garbage truck. Mold release in there. But what it does, having such a thick wash like this, is what it sometimes does is basically two jobs at once. It gives kind of a base tone on top. Well, I mean, there's already a base tone, right? Because it is that sort of potato salad yellow. But it does more than just the cracks. However, I have a feeling, yeah, so this is gonna rub off really darn quick, which means, I think, that doing a primer coat first would be helpful for this. I mean, it's pretty cool looking like that. It looks sort of like an aged marble. Or bone. However, it is not shaped like a bone, so I'd rather it did not look like a bone. Unless, I don't know, maybe you're doing a campaign where you're going through the land of the dead or something and you want all the the cliffs and rock stuff to kind of have that vibe. This could work. Okay, pretty cool. Let's hit these other ones with primer real quick. Just plain gray primer. I thought I did. Did I put it somewhere funny? Or did it? Okay. Gray primer. Add to the list. In the meantime, I'll just use my expensive gray primer. If I can find it. No, not you. Alright, fine. We'll go black. Okay. Now I'm going to spray this real quick. And be hurry. Alright, and they're in the sun, so they'll dry pretty quick. Here's the other batch of interesting colors and techniques that I've done so far. That needs a dry brushing. I actually really like these ones. They're kind of surprising colors, but I like them. I like them. These spongy ones are like, they're so Castle Grayskull. It's fun. Right, but wanted to continue my journey with these guys, so I want to actually, you know what, since I've done spray paint on these with just spray paint straight out of the can, I want to see what happens when I do a wash on them now. Normally it just kind of soaked into the sponge and colored the whole thing. But I'll be curious to see if it still does that with this misting of spray paint or no. Plants are more dangerous than stones. Oh. I've heard there's a song taught me that every rose has its thorns, so I believe it. But I've also heard that a kiss from a rose is something Batman seal. So I really don't know what lesson, like horticultural lesson, to take away from that. Okay, that's not bad. Little exaggeratedly dark in the crevices. Yeah, interesting. Okay. Now this could still use a very quick little dry brush pass, but I think that's a pretty cool look. 7 out of 10. And way better than putting the wash on before doing a spray paint base coat. But again, that's because of the specific nature of this Foam 3, which is just like super foamy, super flexible. Just lets the paint soak into it. So yeah, I've been experimenting with just brushing and straight onto the foam. That's what this one is. This is just, but it was a dark foam base to begin with, and it turned out pretty good. So that versus, and then this one was also hand painted. It was first a wash that made the whole thing darker than I wanted, and then it was just progressive layers of dry brushing after that. And what I'm trying to minimize is the number of steps required to get these table ready. Like, I would assume a certain number of people would want to repaint these to whatever their particular scheme is for their diorama or wargaming table or whatever it may be. But a lot of people also just want it out of the box. So I want to make sure it has at least a decent out-of-the-box appearance. And if it takes an additional, 5 to 10 minutes of painting, then, the cost of each unit only needs to go up by, whatever. If I'm trying to pay myself or my development partner, say $25 an hour, then divide that by whatever and blah, 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 math and numbers. It all comes down to time. Uh-oh. Did I hide the other single triangle? I see no other single triangle from this batch. Oh well. We can survive with... Oh, no, there it is. There it is. Thought it could escape. It's like a toddler or a cat doesn't want to be washed. Okay. I want to try a little bit of washing on these guys. Kind of do. Maybe water this down a bit. So putting it on in just kind of select areas and then getting a wet brush to move it around more gives you some natural modulation and variation very quickly. Because wherever there's more water in the mix, it's going to be a little more translucent, obviously. And where there's less, it'll be darker. And that's good for giving some natural variation. Sad deformed rocks. But again, rocks can be literally deformed. That's something that happens to them deep in the ground. That's right. Foreman makes lots of deformed rocks. Those really fun rock formations where like you'll see the side of a cliff or a mountain where the like pattern of the rocks goes in like a wave or a bend or whatever. That's from deformation. Oh, this particular color, like before I put the wash on it, reminds me of those rice crackers, those puff rice like discs. I used to use those as a substitute for something at some point when I was trying to lose weight, and they're just the worst. Only in comparison to what they were trying to substitute, of course. Although they have all sorts of like flavors of them now. You can get like caramel flavored ones and chocolate. Yeah, does that look like a little rice snack? Delicious. Ooh. What? What is happening out there? Someone with a weird bullhorn. Pulverized things with actually chocolate on them? Yeah, not too healthy at that point. It's like having fruit that is also covered in chocolate. Although honestly, fruit is not a great choice if you're trying to lose weight either. Despite what the food pyramid tries to convince you of, fruits and vegetables are not the same, and not all vegetables are the same. Like if you're trying to lose weight, not gonna do it eating carrots and peas. No, sorry, Bobs. Gotta eat the gross vegetables. potatoes. A lot of people get mixed veggies that are like potatoes, peas, and carrots, and that's just like that ain't nothing but sugar and carbs, baby. That's not gonna help. I mean, sure, there's a few vitamins and stuff in there too, but you can get those from other food. Dried fruit and pretending it's healthy, yeah. In the US, most dried fruit is like also encrusted in granulated sugar. So it's like double, triple not healthy. All right, looks like we're at time. So I've got good news and I've got bad news. You want the good news or the bad news first? Bad news, you say? Okay, I'm just going to assume that's what you said. So bad news is this is my last stream on Reaper. So rip me streaming on Reaper, but it's been a pleasure. It's been fun. Thank you so much, Quindy. I've really appreciated you hanging out with me for, it's literally been years. I can't believe it, but it has been years I've been streaming on Reaper. Yeah, no more Crafty Creative on the Reaper. However, if you are absolutely enthralled with what I'm doing, want to see what's going on, you know, once I get these figured out and like start selling them, you want to follow me for that for whatever reason, I do have a YouTube channel you should follow. I've got my own Twitch channel where I do this several times a week, just at Josh Foreman. And let's see, final plea to buy my books, which I can't show you because I've got filthy fingers. But yeah, links, all the links right there. Check it out. That's right, I never, or I did meet the Reaper. I see what you're saying. No, that's good. I either didn't meet the Reaper or I did meet the, either way, our business together is concluded, sad to say. So yeah, thank you everyone so much. It's been a blast, and I'll leave you with that. Let's go raid someone cool. Thank you, Quindy. Thank you, Indivies, and everyone else who chatted. Have a good rest of your day. Hopefully this Thursday gets less mid and more rad. For you, at least. For me, it's going to stay mid. It's fine. It's fine. All right. See you guys later. I mean, I won't see you guys later. Unless you go to my channel, Josh Foreman. Okay, now I'll see you later.